Hi, this is Elizabeth Brown, and I will be presenting this one course, Three Ways, with Barry Sponder. Both of us are faculty at Central Connecticut State University. Feel free to use the QR code that you see here to get access to this presentation, both in recorded format as well as just a PowerPoint version, as well as the paper that it is based upon. Okay, Dr. Sponder and I set out to answer this question. Which form of teaching is more academically effective in an educational technology undergraduate class, face-to-face, flipped, or online? Basically, what we did is that we had a one-credit educational technology course that our undergraduate education majors were taking. And we've been teaching this class for years traditionally. It's affectionately known as EDT 210. And so we had another faculty member who took this class and designed it as an online class. And she did that about a year or two ago and hadn't been used. It was still kind of sitting on the shelf waiting in the wings. And we decided, hey, it's about time, sooner or later our students are going to ask us for an online version of this course. I mean, that's the way the future is going. So can we realistically offer this online? So that was my charge. It was to take the class and put it online. But a funny thing happened on the way to the forum. Basically, what happened is that, and through my professional reading, I kept hearing about this flipped classroom model. And I just couldn't leave it as, let me just try this online. Let me try this also as a flipped class. And so here became our research question is, let's try teaching this class in one semester. We're going to have a flipped section, we're going to have an online section, and we're going to have what we've always had, a face-to-face section. So again, just the details. The class is Introduction to Educational Technology, EDT 210. In this class, we teach both theory and application of technology to instruction. It's a one-credit course. It goes for 8 weeks, and it's an hour and 40 minutes a week. Okay, so what does the course cover? The course covers a myriad of different things, including interactive whiteboards, and we talk about the importance of interactive presentations, good presentation making skills. We talk about message design, how to create a positive, proactive message with both students and parents, and we teach that through Microsoft Word. We talk about media literacy, and we teach that through iMovie or PhotoStory. We talk about digital literacy, web research, and we teach that through WebQuest. Anyone who's not familiar with that, it's like a little treasure hunt research project on the web. We talk about concept mapping. We either do it, Dr. Sponder does that in his class, pen and paper, chart paper. I teach it more with using Bubble or Inspiration for concept mapping. And we talk a little bit about data. We don't have as much time as we'd like to with that. The course really is jam-packed, but we do use Google Docs spreadsheets for that. And we do an iPad app evaluation. So this course is really filled with a lot of theory and a lot of application. Okay, so again, the first way we taught this was face-to-face. And we have been doing this for a long time. We have a beautiful computer lab on our campus. We have about 14 students in a class at a time. And we specifically set out to make sure that this was not online in any way. So I always have a strict attendance policy, but if students missed a class, I, would have them come in and get the makeup work from me directly. Sometimes I would post tutorials in other sections, but I would not do that with my face-to-face students. Everything they did, they needed to come and learn through me, whether it was a theory or a demonstration of a particular software product. Again, they would come and learn that directly from me. We are, in our department, big Moodle users for our learning management system, so I do put everything out there, but again, there was no tutorials out there. Okay, so again, no tutorials for them. Okay, so the second way was the flipped way, and just I don't know for anyone who's not familiar with what flipped classroom is, I'm going to just take a step back and bring you in on the history of that. There was this hedge fund manager named Salman Khan. I'm sure many of you have heard of him. And he had cousins who lived somewhere out in the Midwest, I think like Salt Lake City, something like that. And they needed some help with their math homework. They were taking calculus. And so Salman Khan would record his lectures. I'm not sure exactly what he used to start, but some sort of a whiteboarding application with probably a tablet and a stylus. And he would record math lessons for his cousins. And his cousins reported that they actually liked him better in video format than in person. So, what they liked about that is that they could stop him when they needed to take notes or continue on with the problem on their own. They could rewind him when they needed to hear what he had to say again. Or they could fast forward when he was, mumbling on and they already knew that part. And so his cousins liked the videos, but what happened is he became this internet sensation and ended up had this following on YouTube of people not even related to him that were following his math videos. So he quit his job as a hedge fund manager and started this nonprofit organization called Khan Academy. And as that nonprofit, what he does is he records these videos, and I do recommend, if you've never heard one, to go to Khan Academy's website and check them out. And he records these videos, and he really doesn't have a script. He just goes out there and, right? So to continue, all of these people started watching this, and Salman decided to start this nonprofit Khan Academy. And there's a lot of schools using this solely. I mean, he mostly does math, but he's branching out into other subject areas. And some schools decide that they're going to go with a complete flipped model, so they have their students watching these videos at home, okay? And then they come to class, and in class they're doing what we would normally consider homework. So they're doing their worksheets and their projects. And in other subjects other than math, probably they're having discussions and group work and things like that. And the teacher now has the opportunity to work one-on-one and walk around the classroom and work with students. And so many believe that this interaction between the teacher and the students is, much better for the students, and they're learning more because the lecture part can really be taken care of at home. And not just to give Salman Khan the credit, but there are also Bergman and Sams, who were two chemistry teachers, and they kind of started the same thing. They were kind of team teaching and decided to try this flipped model. And their main thrust for doing this was that they had a lot of student athletes that were missing their classes. And so they said, well, instead of having to do all this makeup work, we'll record the class. And next thing you know, they started really with the flip model, where they had their students watching the videos at home and then coming to class to do their experiments, to have group discussions and things of that nature. And so that's kind of where this flipped classroom originated, and now it's really quite a buzzword in education. And so we at CCSU decided, we would try this as well. Okay, so again, I had these videos that were already created by Leslie Dower, who is a kind of an adjunct faculty member in our department, and they were created for the online class that she was kind of preparing for. And so many of those fit beautifully into the flipped model. There were some issues in that when Leslie developed the videos, she was designing them for another faculty member, not myself. And so the syllabus had changed a little bit. My teaching style is a little different than this other instructor. And so I needed to fine tune some of the things. I needed to create a few additional videos myself and change around some things. And we were using some different software. So, I had to do a little bit on my own, but it was really nice to have someone else do the core of the work. And so my students would look at these videos. So again, if it was message design, I would have a lecture about, positive communication that my students would watch. And I basically just screencasted myself talking about this with a PowerPoint. And then I had a series of about 4 to 5 videos that Leslie had created on how to use Microsoft Word to meet all of the requirements in our rubric. So, there would be one on how to add an image and maybe resize it, and one on, how to add font, and one on, how to save as a PDF or something like that. So, or how to create a table, how to create a text box. So they were tasked with going home and watching, the theory video as well as the application videos. And then when they came to class, we would, possibly have some class discussions. That we would do group work. A lot of times, because our course is very project oriented, we don't give any tests or quizzes. They just create projects and do a couple of other homework assignments a week. And so we would allow time for them to review projects created by previous students. So for example, they would go and look at different web quests created by previous students or those that are already out there existing on the web, and they could work in a group to evaluate that web quest. We use the same rubric that Bernie Dodge and Tom Marsh uses, and they would have the time to do that. And then when they were done, they mostly had time in the lab to work on all of these projects that they had. And it was a great experience for me. I mean, I really, every semester I get to know my students. I really think it is important for me to get to know them on a personal level. And so I get to know all my students regularly. But in the flipped class, I did feel as if, we did have a little bit of a better rapport. And, I would kind of, shuffle around from computer station to computer station, helping them with their different questions and things like that. Okay. So, and then the last flavor we had is the online flavor, which is really no different than what I'm sure all of you have heard about online. We did this asynchronously, so everything was, recorded lectures and demonstrations for them. My office hours were available to them, but I don't believe I had any online students come to them at all. They all did the work on their own. And never had an online chat. I would have some email communication with them. That was it. And so this is a picture of the Moodle that Leslie Dower created. And I really just have to give her kudos. She did a beautiful job. I mean, she definitely has a creative flair to her that, she picked out these great graphics and the color scheme, and she really laid everything out so nicely and clearly for the students. And even though there were some changes that needed to be made, I was able to very easily, just slip into the style that she already had and make the appropriate changes. Okay, and then the other thing that's just worth noting is that I replaced some of the class activities that I normally would do with online discussions and peer reviews. So after they would read or watch a video on the theory, possibly I would ask a question. If we were talking about blogging that day, I might ask them a question about how they feel about blogging, or what was classroom communication like in their schooling growing up. And, I do get a good discussion going on with my face-to-face students. What was interesting with my online students is some of them really took it to an emotional level. I mean, I had a student kind of complaining about how she forgot her lunch money every day, or her lunch or something like that, and, the embarrassment that she felt. And so I just felt like, in that online environment, they felt very comfortable expressing some emotions with the whole class. And then we did have some peer review, which I'll talk about that more in a little bit, but I would have them post their projects, a few days early, and then should peer review the other projects of their fellow students and give them feedback. And I think that could have been really positive. I don't think I enforced it enough, and I think we missed the boat a little bit on that.